Formerly known as California Speedway, Auto Club Speedway may be just a memory for most of us now, but back in 2004, this place was thriving. A giant 2-mile D-oval just outside of Los Angeles, with Mount Baldy overlooking it. Tonight, the Winstel Cup Series will come back and relive the glory of California Speedway back as it was back in 2004, where 38 drivers will take the call. Only one can walk away the champion of California. You're watching the Winstel Cup Racing Series from California Speedway out here in beautiful Fontana, California. My name is Joe Cortez. Good evening, good evening. Joined as always by Carmen, Sienna here on the Aero Broadcasting Network. Carmen, this is going to be a wild race. It's a wide track with a lot of different lanes. And with a low downforce package, these guys are going to have a lot to handle on their hands in these older cars.
Yeah, obviously 750 horsepower, it's a lot to kind of keep reined in here. Fontana, California, California Speedway. The bumps are going to be a big factor in this race, but it is a wide track. There are different lanes you can see. As you see there on your screen, just the different lanes that you can really maximize going into this. Christian Budd fastest right now in the session. But you look at where everything's at right now, you see Christian Budd running down to the bottom. A lot of drivers will prefer running near the top of this track as this race goes along. But it's a pick or an adventure. 5 lanes on this track that you can reasonably pick. It's going to be a very racy track, and with it being low downforce, you can't be flat out around it no matter what. It's about picking what's comfortable here in California. And you see Christian Budd turned 1 and 2. He was on the bottom, went right to the wall in 3 and 4. You're finding out a lot of drivers that are trying to figure out what they're comfortable with, and they'll be figuring that out during the race too.
And for as big as this track is, it's very deceptive as far as what you can do in the turns. Only 14 degrees of banking. It looks a lot higher. It looks a lot like you can run flat out like it's at Daytona or Talladega. But the truth is you have to be very careful where you run. As you see Emily Howe there almost getting sideways through 1 and 2. It's 2 completely different approaches to each of these turns, as these drivers are going to be very, very cautious and figure out their long-term strategy to how they want to attack this multi-lane racetrack. When we were live last week, as it were, we saw our first 2-time winner. That was in the form of Mr. Tyler Head, currently sitting 10th in standings. In fact, let's go through the standings as they sit tonight. Sean Paleg, currently your leader going into tonight's race, only 3 points ahead of Daytona winner Gabriel Mauricio. Thomas Lewandowski, no wins on his schedule yet. 1 top 5, 4 top 10. He'll stay in position number 3. Fourth belongs to Alex Smith, 1 point behind Thomas Lewandowski. Mike Rasmus, who will be starting from pit road tonight, is currently scored in 5th. Emily Howe, the 15 you just saw a moment ago, she's in 6th. Dylan Roberts, Jose Sola Jr., Chris Champeau, and 2-time winner Tyler Head round out the top 10. If we went to the playoffs, we went to the chase of the cup today, that would be your top 10. Brendan McGee, currently the first one on the bubble, only 11 points behind Tyler Head. Christian Budd, who was a race winner earlier this year, is sitting in 12th, also on the bubble. Chrissy Ryan in 13th, Evan Lack in 14th, Jonathan Hernandez 15th, Brandon McKissick, Corey Cook, Alex Bates, rounding out your top 18. But we talk about the bubble now, but there's still plenty of racing left to go before we go to the chase. I think everyone's cognizant of that, but nobody's comfortable with it.
Yeah, obviously a lot of work to do here still. This is, we're getting into the mid stage of the season. The early part of the season's over now. You know where you stand. You know the gaps you have to start to close here as you look a little further down from that cut line to be in the top 10. You got Nick Doucette, Anthony Krobach, Parker Alexander, who's not had a great start of the season at all. Very much lower than he wants to be as we get ready for qualifying here. Zach Campbell's lower than he wants to be with the pace that he's had in that 41 car. Going to be very interesting to see how these drivers really kind of try to jump back onto the horse here with so many good tracks already out of the way and so many challenging tracks still left to come here.
And this track, again, very challenging on many different levels. Those 14-degree turns, very deceptive. very frustrating to mess with and to play with. And so these guys are really going to have their hands full as they get ready to go green flag racing. Right now, let's go through some qualifying. One lap of qualifying for everybody as we get ready to go racing here at Auto Club Speedway. Let's follow along with the 0-1 of James Bowles coming out for his first lap here at Auto Club. If you're on qualifying right now, Carmen, what approach do you take? How do you attack this track to get the best time?
So the train of thought's typically the right one that you see James Bowles doing right now. Run the outside lane. You've only got one lap. Run the outside lane. Try to build as much momentum as possible. That's the name of the game. Run as much momentum as you possibly can. He's doing the right thing here. Just drifting down the racetrack here. However, he has to drift back up because he has to get himself positioned for turns 1 and 2. He can't get himself super low though. The lower you get to that white line to get through the corner, the better you are. So obviously he's, I don't think, going to have a great time here just because he can't quite get down to that white line. He may have a better time of it going through 3 and 4, but he's already shaved off. He's already lost a lot of time there in 1 and 2. It's about arcing into 1 and 2, then arcing back into 3 and 4. Really just kind of, you don't want to fight the car at all as you go through this process. You want to keep it as smooth as you possibly can, and that's easier said than done. We're going to see him come across our finish line here. It's probably going to end up being in the mid-20s here the time he puts down. Right now, second fastest, but no one set times yet.
Nobody has set times yet, and I think that's on purpose. I think everybody is taking their time to go over their notes one last time, try to figure out how they want to attack this track. You talk about momentum, and depending on how the car is set up, we've talked about this earlier, as you see the 45 now on track, the 45 belonging to Alex Kolonix, thank you. You talked about the low downforce package that these cars have right here. Depending on how it's set up, depending on where they go tonight, you can see the momentum being carried on multiple different lanes. Some drivers like the momentum on the high side, feel like they can carry more speed. Others like to do that traditional, lean into the turns in order to get around the turn in the fastest way possible. So I think we're going to see a varying number of strategies tonight, as now he turns in his first time of the evening, and that
23rd.
I don't know the way. 23rd.
Parker Alexander about to start his lap as well. So Alex Kolonix there, the 45. Information missing because he is a very last-minute addition to the field. Parker Alexander, definitely not a new addition. You see him going into this race 21st in points, definitely way lower than he wants to be because he's had some good results. The results when they've been good, they've been decent. When they've been bad, they've been nightmarish. So he's got to really try to get that really straightened out here. He has pace. This is a track that he enjoys. Let's see what he does here down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 here. Again, he's looking for anything to sort of break the goose egg that he's experienced here in the opening stanza.
Parker Alexander going through turns 3 and 4, those big wide 14-degree turns. Is he going to put it on the apron to try to get a little more speed? Yes, he is. Just kissing the apron, and that will turn in a time of fast enough to get him in 11th place. So not a bad qualifying, but I think it's a precursor of what we're going to see tonight, especially because tonight's race is going to really be won and lost on pit road. 15 to 18 laps is what we're projecting right now for the pit window. So if that holds up, these guys are not only going to have to take 2 stops to get through the race, but they're going to have to take them almost back to back.
Yeah, it's going to be a very rough time figuring out the strategy for this race because it is such a different lap length. Obviously 60 laps makes it easy. You just go 20 laps, you're done. Now it's okay, 45 laps. It's a longer racetrack, obviously 2 miles in length here. All right, is it 15, 30, 45? Can you try to cut out a stop? Maybe. It seems very unlikely you can cut out a stop. So do you go 18, 36 and pit with like less than 10 laps to go? There's so much more variables now in how this race is really going to shape up here. The margins are even thinner. So that's part of the excitement, though, too, because you don't have much time to correct things if they go wrong. So that's everyone's going to earn or lose a lot of their positions on the pit lane there, and it's so exciting because this track is already a difficult pit lane to get into because you just want to overshoot it. You definitely can't afford to do that, though.
No, you cannot afford to do that at all. And again, especially with them back to back the way they are, 15 to 18 laps isn't a whole lot of time, but it does give some guys and gals out there a lot of opportunity to be creative with their pit stops and try to figure out when they want to take those stops. It'll be fun to see, especially as we start towards the end and start gambling towards those pit stops and start playing strategy with the green, white, checkered finishes. We're going to see some people, I guarantee you, play some games on pit road trying to maximize their strategy and try to maximize their cars in case we go to green, white, checkered.
Yeah, so qualifying completed there. We're going to find out who can put pedal to the metal going into this race. Again, we're going to have 40 cars, so a couple of late entries there. We talked about Alex Kolonix, one of the cars that were brand new, but 40 cars, 20 rows to get us set up for today's race at Auto Club.
Let's take you now through the grid and for the Winstel Cup Series stop here at, I want to call it California Speedway because that's what it was called in 2004. But it's right now, it's branded right now Auto Club Speedway, so forgive me, we'll work through it. Jose Solis Jr. Currently sitting, or will be sit on the pole of the 29 machine on the outside of him, the 98 of Larry Pace. Row number 2 belongs to race winner Christian Budd in the 17. Outside of him, the 24 of Nick Doucette. Dylan Roberts will start in position number 3. Row number 3, position number 5. Sean Peleg, your points leader, in position number 6. Chris Champeau and Justin Howe will make up row number 4. And row number 5 belongs to TJ Crampton and Jared Bales.
Looking further down the order here, Parker Alexander, not a bad qualifying spot for him. 21st in points, 11th on the grid alongside Anthony Krobach. James Bowles ended up a little bit higher than I predicted with his lap. He's in 13th, row 7 alongside Brendan McGee, who needs another good race to close in on that top 10 in the points. Timothy Latham and Ali Osman, they make up row number 8, the top 16 lined up there. Christina Ryan and Kyle Benson in row number 9. The top 20 marked out by Gabriel Mauricio, the Daytona 500 winner back a couple months ago, alongside the Winstel 400 winner back in January, Emily Howe, rounding out the top 20.
Row number 11 belongs to the number 2 of Evan Mellinson, and the outside of him, the 32 of Matt Taylor. Brandon Cruz and Alex Bates will make up row number 12. Davin Cornelius, who had a rough run last week, will start row number 13. The inside row number 13, Philip Snipes on the outside as the cars start rolling here at Auto Club Speedway. Jonathan Hernandez will start the inside of row number 14. Alex Kolonix on the outside of him in that unsponsored 45 to unsponsored right now. Michael O'Brien, Tyler Murray will make up row 15, and that takes us to a top 30.
The final 10 cars in the field, Andrew Griesbaum and Matt Sisler in row 16. Drew White in the 88 alongside Rory Collins, Thomas Lewandowski, and Aaron Smith. They make up row 18. A very bad qualifying effort for Lewandowski and Smith. They did not get set times. They crashed on their qualifying runs. Ken Huff, Corey Steinhauser, Hayden Repas, and Kenneth Askew not setting qualifying efforts in this race, but that's 40 cars set to do battle across 5 lanes here in Fontana.
And 2 drivers of note who will start a lap down, Mike Rasmus in the 6 machine and Kyle Benson in the 16, both scheduled to start a lap down due to incidents last week at Martinsville. So here we are, Auto Club Speedway. Real quick, Carmen, who do you got winning this thing?
Jose Solis Jr. showing a lot of pace. So is Larry Pace, Christian Budd, Nick Doucette looking for rebound races. I'm picking Sean Peleg. Peleg's got a lot of pace here. He's been good all week long through testing. But we'll see who's got what, because there's a lot of drivers that want to have something to say about it.
Pace car is off. The number 29 of Jose Solis Jr. in command of this field. Green flag flies, and we are racing here at Auto Club Speedway. So far, Jose Solis commanding full control of this field, but there's Christian Budd right behind him now, trying to get up on his bumper, try to get ahead and not get a lead, but at least stay in pace with him as everyone decides where they're going to go. Solis will go high, Christian Budd will go low, and we are racing down the 3-degree backstretch into turns 3 and 4.
Larry Pace did not get a great start to get this race underway, but he's recovering nicely, still staying alongside Christian Budd there. We started this race in P3, single file most of the way through the top 5 though, except for with Budd. You see Dylan Roberts there in the 8 going to the bottom. There's Sean Palig in the 48, and behind them just absolute pandemonium. Everyone trying to move through there. Justin Howe trying to move forward. Same with TJ Crampton and Jared Bales. Emily Howe already up 6 spots in this race. And just a lap and a quarter. Absolutely doing fantastic stuff there. Did not start well in this race. Started in 20th, a very low position for Emily. But not staying there for very long. Now up 7 spots going around the 01 of James Bowles.
Battling through the field 2 by 2, and I think everyone's right now shaking out their cars, trying to figure out where they're going to get the momentum at, where they're going to get the fastest run on these cars. Like we said, these cars can run many different lines here on the track. It's just a matter of where do you feel comfortable, where can you make the car work, and how can you get it fastest around this track. Sometimes the fastest lane isn't always the bottom lane. As you see Davin Cornelius now running behind, I believe that is the number 9 Dodge of Dylan Roberts. They're going to run the high lane, try to get around the 1 of Jonathan Hernandez, using that speed up high, momentum up high to their advantage. Davin Cornelius looking for a big rebound today as he's going to stay high, while check that the 19 of Philip Snipes goes low. Cornelius choosing the high line, and it is working well for him tonight.
Yeah, looking on board here with Philip Snipes, looking backwards towards Cornelius there. Really good look there as Cornelius now moves to the inside lane, flipping right back to Cornelius. He's back to the inside lane, trying to pick off drivers one by one, but easier said than done because he couldn't make it stick quite where he wanted to there. These tires, they start off really, really cold, but they heat up super quick, these Goodyear Eagles. So the amount of times you can actually balance that car in the inside lane is going to be a very small window, even smaller than the pit window here today.
Plus, with these turns not having as much banking for such a big track, they wear off a little harder. And when you start feeling them drop off, you feel them drop off. You will physically feel the car start scrubbing upward on this track, making it very difficult not only to pass, but to control to manage throttle control through the race. Let's follow along now with that 00 machine of Chrissy Ryan, the Aaron's Dream Machine. She's got some dreams of her own to stay in the middle of this pack and start moving her way up, securing her spot in the chase this year, only sitting in, I believe, position number 13th. She's got a long way to go, and she's got to make up spots and make them up quick if she wants to have a shot at making the chase.
Yeah, pretty much everyone stalled out here a little bit. As I kind of predicted, the outside lane would become the dominant lane with how everyone's really trimmed out here. Similar to the Champ Car race on Wednesday, the outside lane is the best lane here because you generate so much more momentum on the outside lane. Christina Ryan was able to get around Anthony Krobach there and immediately went straight to the outside lane. She wasn't at the race on Wednesday, but a lot of experience carrying over still for Christina Ryan, being able to sort of use that to her advantage there. Got to the outside of Krobach and defended it well, and now moving forward, trying to get around Brenna McGee, who is ahead of her in points. This is a direct battle head-to-head, looking at the points as well, just trying to close that window in. Luckily, it's still some laps to go here. We're coming to 39 laps to go, but they tick away so quickly here at Fontana. Remember, there's no stages either, so everything that's happening, either a crash brings out a caution, or we have a green flag race where everyone's going to make up decisions on their own, on the fly, where the most mistakes can happen.
We're not going to see official stages. They're not going to have breaks like we see today, and they're not going to be able to come down pit road, under a group caution. But we are going to see some unofficial stages tonight.
Caution is out. Speak of the devil, and it's Alex Kolonix.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Alex Kolonix in the 45, heavy damage to that car, bouncing off the inside wall there. We'll have to take a look and see what happened, but that is definitely not how Alex Kolonix wanted to start his season.
Yeah, not a great way to start here, and you just kind of see here. We're going to start to go, see if we can get slow motion going here. He's trying to go down to the inside lane. I think trying to see who that's in front of here. Let's get a good look from our good old chopper
That is
cam.
That's a one machine in front of him.
Yeah, it's Hernandez in front of him. That is Lewandowski, the 21. New look Wood Brothers machine there, the 21 in front of him there. Just kind of go in slow motion. Again, Kolonix 45, center of your screen. Oh, Hernandez checks up for Alex Bates.
Yep. And a little netcode there, a little predictive collision looks like between the 45 and 1. The 1 gets sideways as a result, hits back in the 45, and the 2 go for a ride. Lewandowski caught up in it. but able to break in time to miss damage.
That is cutting it very close. Gets a little bit there on that right front fender. But Collins, I think, definitely wears the worst of it.
The Colonix doesn't actually bounce off the wall, so that's good for him. Good news is he'll be able to save it. Bad news is he will have a little bit of damage, and he will need to use one of the sets of tires here very quickly, as everybody now coming to the attention of their crews, and I guarantee you they are all looking for the same thing. 4 tires, a full tank of virtual Sunoco fuel, everybody that is, but the 98 of Larry Pace.
Yeah, Larry Pace staying out. So is the 19 of Philip Snipes. The only 2 drivers to make that strategy call, because it's still a 2-stop race from here. There's no reason to pit. If you can get that clean air, take it. But we saw how important tires became in just 8 laps. It's going to be more important here as we go into this restart. And once the tires heat up for everyone else, these 2 will be struggling quite a bit. But it's all about getting that track position and trying to hold on to it into your pit stop again. Again, you know that the pit window here, you're going to try to get to about 15 laps if you can. And again, it's a 2-stop race. Try to make it easier on yourself. Philip Snipes here, well below the white line. See what's going on there with the 19 car.
He might be doing some fuel saving or maybe some electrical issues. We'll have to check in on that. If I'm betting, though, I believe that's probably a fuel saving strategy. He's probably turning the engine off, letting it coast before going back in. He wants to save as much fuel as possible to stay out as long as possible after this caution flag. If I'm those 2 drivers right now, I'm either thinking one of 2 things. One, with everyone coming back out on cold tires, we're going to see another caution. Or number 2, they're going to have a good enough run where they can go pit off schedule and ultimately win this race, run this race in reverse and ultimately win it, as we got some more people coming down pit road.
Yeah, these are drivers that missed their pit box. Matt Taylor, Andrew Griesbaum, Michael O'Brien, and Kenneth Askew. They missed their pit boxes there because he did not make a pit stop at any point. I wondered if they had taken fuel only, but they wouldn't have had that big of a jump on the rest of the field. Nick Doucette in the 24 did take 2 tires, as did the 40 of Gabriel Mauricio. So a couple of gamblers there on the 2-tire stops, but most of the field taking that free 4-tire stop just to be safe and secure. Even though there's still a 2-stop race going on here, it could become a fuel save issue if they try to make it to the end of the race on just one more stop. But a lot of people are still kind of gambling on that 2-stop strategy here as we get ready to go back racing on lap 11 is what we're coming to now.
Single file restart for the field. I don't think there are any cars a lap down right now, so it'll be a full single file restart for the entire field, led by the 98 machine of Larry Pace. He will get the extra 5 points for leading a lap, so this could be a points position too. But you know, it's gonna be very interesting watching these 2 stay up front with everybody else having tires to warm up.
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic start to this restart's going to be very interesting too, because everyone's going to fan out so quickly to try to find that real estate that you're talking about. It's going to be, Larry Pace has been in this position way too many times this season already, and we're only on race 6, so I feel bad for him. But he's going to get some bonus points for leading a lap here. 5 bonus points for leading a lap, another 5 for leading the most laps. As we get ready to come back to green flag racing, it's Larry Pace versus the world.
He hasn't led all the laps, the most laps led yet. So don't give him those 5 points just yet, but it is him versus the world, and he is doing everything he can to hold off the 24 of Nick Doucette. Running both lines is Pace, and now the 19 forced to check up. This could open the door for Doucette. Doucette going on the high side, looking for the lead.
Doucette had a lot of pace at Martinsville last week, got caught up in an incident at the worst possible time at the end of the race. Same with Larry Pace. He was there at the end of the race, battling for that race win. Both of them did not get to see it. Now they're battling side by side for the lead once again, this time on the other side of the country, on California's side of the country instead of in Virginia.
From east to west, they go, and Nick Doucette will pick up the lead here at Auto Club Speedway, and it's a 3-way battle now for position number 2. Pace low, Mauricio high, and in the middle, one-time winner Christian Budd. But don't look now. Looks like the 8 machine is leading a whole lot of cars around the turn.
Yeah, Dylan Roberts there in the 8 machine, now behind Jose Solis Jr., getting around Larry Pace, who drops to 5th place. Solis and Budd, 2nd and 3rd. in this absolute melee at the front of the field. Everyone chasing Doucette, who was on those 2 tires. Again, that 2-tire strategy gave him the position, but he's also got enough grip to hold on to it at the moment. But now he's got to defend 3 lanes of traffic. Good luck with that, because here comes Solus.
Solus up high, Christian Budd down low, the 8 machine of Dylan Roberts in the mix as well, almost 4 wide as these guys go 3 abreast through turns 1 and 2. Advantage right now to the 24, but Jose Solus up high in the 29 is making up some ground right now, and he will pick up the lead if the 424 has nothing to say about it. What happens on turns 3 and 4 will make the lead.
Solus running the outside lane, Doucette and Christian Budd on the inside lane. The outside lane definitely a lot better for momentum. Solus got clear easily because there comes Dylan Roberts as well. I'm wondering why Doucette went for the bottom instead of trying to defend in the outside lane. You want to try to force them to work harder, and the inside lane's the harder lane to pass right now with how everyone's cars are set up. He just kind of gave Solus the right lane to be in. I don't know what Doucette's doing there, because now Christian Budd's the outside lane now. And the window to actually jump to the outside lane now is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. With, obviously, I think that's the 18 of Christian Poe, the Interstate Batteries machine, trying to close in as well to close that gap up.
The 29 will make the 4th lead change of the night. The 29 will now he started on the pole. He's going to take it right back, and he will lead lap number 14, now scoring lap number 15. This would be where people have to start thinking about making those pit stops, but now they stopped at lap number 9. We're looking around lap 25, lap 30, lap 25, lap 35 before we see them come down pit road again.
Yeah, the window is a lot different now for most of the field. And again, I think you got some drivers that will try to make it a one more stop here. They're going to try to make it, close to that lap 35 mark. Get it. You want to try to get as close to about lap 30 if you can. And that's going to be pretty difficult with how these fuel tanks are. But if you can get to about lap 30, then you've got a 15-lap sprint that we know everyone can make at the end of this race. So you don't have to worry about saving anymore. So that's the perfect margin you want to really hit. And again, these laps, they fly by quickly. 2 miles, just like that, and that is in 40 seconds. Pretty quick lap times here. And Fontana, you look at Jose Solus Jr. right now, the 29 car race leader, just entering turn 3 and 4, 197 miles an hour.
So Jose Solus Jr. continues to lead. Down low, though, there's some other drivers trying a low lane. The 8 machine now under fire from the 17. I think the 8 is doing some rear view mirror driving there on the 17. But Dylan Roberts knows the 17 is fast, and the 17 of Christian Budd wants that position. So I think the 8's doing more blocking than he is trying to keep up with Jose Solus Jr. out there, trying to keep the 17 in his rear view mirror behind him. They continue to go 2 by 2 around the track. Thomas Lewandowski in the mix there right now. Looks like he's about position number 20-ish, if my math is correct.
He is in 21st. You're really close there on it. He's battling for 20th there with Melanson. There's Timothy Latham there, the 84. There's Kyle Benson, that pedigree, number 38. Obviously, everyone trying to make up some positions here. Lewandowski, the hardest charger in this race. That's why we're focusing on him. Up 14 spots in this race, more than anybody else at this point. 3 drivers up 12 spots. Mauricio in 7th, Howe in 8th. And Aaron Smith in the 24th position at the moment, all up 12 spots at the moment. Biggest loser, it has to be Matt Taylor, down 12 spots in this race so far, as Lewandowski gets another spot, trying to get around, and will successfully get around. Maybe. Got around Kyle Benson and the 2 of Alvin Melanson, but almost lost the car in the process as him and Benson stay side by side in the turns 3 and 4. A lot of pandemonium here in the mid-pack as the front of the field still very well single file. Christian Budd got around Dylan Roberts, but still sitting behind Jose Solus Jr. This side by side right now.
Let's watch a battle for second place as these guys continue side by side. It'll be Roberts down low. It'll be Budd up high. Let's see which one has the most momentum coming out of turns 1 and 2. Advantage Dylan Roberts, but will he hold on? Will he be able to hold on to that position as they go back into 3 and 4? We know the high line seems to be the place where all the momentum is, and Christian Budd proves that by cleanly getting around the 8th. So move Christian Budd to position number 2, Dylan Roberts position number 4, and Chris Champeau for the first time looking in the top 5 tonight.
Yeah, Chris Champeau right now running on both and riding right behind Dylan Roberts in that 4th position. 3 top 10s, no top 5s though for the 18 car. Looking for his first if he can make it happen here today as we approach the halfway point in a couple laps time. You see Christian Budd went way up to the wall almost involuntarily, and it's going to give Dylan Roberts a chance to battle for that 2nd spot once again. Just looking forward there in from the 18's point of view. Christian Budd stays in 2nd place though, holding on there, but struggling to get to the bumper of Jose Solis Jr., who's still leading this race after starting this race on pole position.
So Solis Jr., Bud, Dylan Roberts, Chris Champeau, your top 4 right now as Lewandowski continues to move on the field. Score him around position number 17. We talked about Lewandowski. He's got the most to lose tonight. Currently sitting in 3rd. He's 34 points away from Gabriel Mauricio, but only 1 point in front of Aaron Smith. So if Lewandowski has a bad night tonight, that could have big ripple effects towards the front of the points race and could change what happens as we get closer and closer to the chase.
Keep an eye, the 14, Jared Bales, and the 11, Anthony Krobach. Saw by a little bit of contact between those two. Krobach had to save it. He did successfully save it, but a little bit of pandemonium there as Ali Osman also tries to defend from Lewandowski.
Ali Osman in the 30th, trying to keep the 21 away from. Now, the problem is they're on the high side. Lewandowski's on the high side. We know the momentum is all the way on that high side. So I think it's only a matter of time before Lewandowski gets position number 17 and continues his charge all the way to the top. Lewandowski's had a very interesting season so far. 1 top 5, 4 top 10s, and no wins. He's using consistency instead of a brute force and winning to make his argument for the case, which is the way to do it. Slow and steady wins the race.
Aaron Smith's another driver that's been kind of doing that. 2 top 5s to his credit, and 4 total top 10s to the first 5 races. 4th place last time out at Martinsville. He's done a pretty decent job, but they've caught themselves off guard here. They did not qualify very well in this race. Lewandowski obviously crashed in qualifying. Aaron Smith did as well, which is why it was so surprising for them. They're both up 18 spots now, with Lewandowski and Aaron Smith now in 17th and 18th respectively. But they've still got a lot of work to do, and as this field spreads out, the harder it is to get around some of these drivers, because you need a lot of checkup. You need to be able to generate momentum against the car in front of you. When there's nothing holding them back from doing the exact same thing, it's harder to gain on those cars in front, as now you see Aaron Smith once again under attack from Osman and from the car that just came out of pit lane, Larry Pace, a lap down, but now good to go to the end of the race if math is to be believed.
I was about to say, as we were watching everything happen there on the track, those 2 drivers did sneak down into pit road, and they're playing the game. They're playing the game a little bit in reverse. They're trying to wait out everybody and see if they can continue to move forward as everyone's forced to come down pit road here in the next window. Should be open now, but I don't imagine we'll see anybody for the next 5 to 6 laps. Emily Howe now moved up to 5th position. Her only win so far in Winstel, in this year's Winstel campaign, was the 500 at Daytona International Speedway to start the season off. Now she sits in position number 5 and is looking to pick up some pace as well, holding off some drivers, a lot of drivers behind her, and trying to catch up to Chris Champeau up there in position number 4. 4.
Yeah, Parker Alexander obviously battling with Emily Howe. They're trying to really make advantage of the situation. Coming to 20 laps to go. There's Sean Paleg and Nick Doucette also in the top 10 there. Doucette again looking just to right the ship going into this here, and obviously into this situation very low in the points order. Top 10s, top 5s is what the doctors ordered. It's just a matter of getting them to Nick Doucette. Right now, he's in the 8th position right now, sitting ahead of Gabriel Mauricio. Larry Pace and those fresh tires will blow by most of the drivers here in the top 10, because he can do what no one else can, and that is run the bottom efficiently and consistently. But Nick Doucette right now doing a great job, just sort of sitting tight and being patient as some drivers in pit lane. Kyle Benson, one of them, as well as Andrew Griesbaum. And it looks like the 88 also in here. That's Drew White in pit lane. But I think Drew White's got some damage on that number 88 machine, so he's got repairs to do. But pit stops, they are coming in.
They are coming, and the seal has been broken, as they say. Solus Jr. will get around them. He'll put those cars on pit road a lap down this time by, and the 17 of Bud now on the back bumper of the 29, trying to force him to make an error so we can start moving up. You see the 17 pinch the 29 down low. Now the 17 is going to use that high line to his advantage. Will he have enough momentum to get around the 29? 29 rides the white line, and right now the 29 will continue to lead. The 17 just no help back there, nowhere to go as he tries the inside lane. Says, if I can't pass you on the outside, we're going to try it on the inside and see if we can make it work.
Again, keeping on the 98 car. Larry Pace has the pace right now because, again, he has on fresh tires. Everyone slides up the racetrack except for Pace. Christian Bud's going to take a lap lead here, but Solus got right back to the inside lane. Bud led that lap, but Solus Jr. got right there back to him as more cars come down pit lane. Crampton, Ryan, Justin Howell, Alex Bates, Anthony Krobach, James Bowles, Jonathan Hernandez, Michael O'Brien, they're all down pit lane. Nick Doucette coming out of pit lane now, same with Timothy Latham. So pit stops coming in bunches now, and we expect the leaders to come in here in the next 3 laps, if not sooner.
Here's what I like, though, about what Larry Pace has done. He is now technically on the lead lap. He's the last car on the lead lap after going past those the leaders. So if a caution flag comes out, he can stay out. He's on the end of the lead lap now. So if the caution flag comes out, he inherits the lead by default because he doesn't have to come down pit road anymore. He could choose to, but I don't think we're going to see that. I think he's gambling that we're going to have some problems coming for these leaders coming down pit road, and that's going to bring out a caution. We'll see if luck works in Larry Pace's favor.
I don't think Larry Pace wants to see a yellow. Right now, he's going to have the bona fide race lead of this race when everyone makes their pit stops because he's had so much time on this undercut strategy here that they're going to have to really charge to get back to him when they make their pit stops. The longer that they wait, the better it is for Larry Pace as well. Dylan Roberts in pit lane, but Jose Solis and Christian Budd, they stay out. A growing group of drivers that have stayed out so far. If you're worried about anybody that it was in this lead group, you're worried about Nick Doucette. Nick Doucette is the first driver of the lead 5 that has come down in pit lane and now back out of it. He's on the outside there, getting around. He gets his lap back as well. He has fresher tires than Larry Pace. If a late caution does come out, Doucette can outrun Larry Pace here. But again, we're coming to 15 laps to go. If a caution comes out now, then Larry Pace and Nick Doucette are kind of in trouble because they're not on the lead. They're on the lead lap, but they're going to be 20th.
They're
19th
off the
to 20th.
pace. Yeah,
they're not going to be where they want to be. They're going to definitely have lost spots here. So they're gambling that they don't have to worry about that as Christian Budd, Emily Howell, Parker Alexander, and Aaron Smith all come down pit lane. It leaves not many drivers left on track, but Jose Solis Jr. is one of them. It's going to be very interesting. Again, I think Larry Pace has the right strategy. I think Nick Doucette's got one a little bit better because he was one of the first ones in that major group to blink. I don't like leaving it this late, though. You're leaving... By the time you get it back up to speed, you're leaving 12, 13 laps to try to reel back in what could be an 11-second gap. It's not great. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but here comes Solus, and he slides! Huge slide for Solus, but he makes speed somehow.
Solus finds it in him, and he's going to lead down Chris Champeau, and I believe that is the 48 machine of Sean Palek as well coming down with him. Gabriel Mauricio now currently scored as your leader. Mauricio is going to have to come down pit road too. He'll probably take one to get the 5 points for leading a lap, but he's also going to have to come down pit road, and now it's getting to be go time. The longer you wait now, the longer you delay the inevitable. I think everybody knows that.
The reason why you would stay out in a traditional race, like what we see when the HTL Cup Series or the ArcSace for a Cup Series, you stay out to take less fuel. But because the fuel tanks in this series is so small, the tire stop is always going to be longer than the fuel stop. So there's no imperative to wait to try to take less fuel. It's all about the tire stop there. That's where the difference is.
Let's follow Mauricio real quick. I want to see what he's going to do. Is he going to take 2 tires, 4 tires as he overshoots is stalled just by a touch. He makes maybe a 2-tire stop as he tries to get out as fast as he can. Right sides go up. It is a 2-tire stop. I had a feeling we were going to see him take 2 tires, and so he can get down as fast as he could. Larry Pace gets around him, and now he's moved up to position number 7, slowly climbing his way back up the ladder.
Yeah, more cars still have to come down pit lane. Lewandowski making that pit stop now. Ali Osman will take the lead of the race here. He'll get some bonus points for leading a lap here in Fontana. Only 3 starts, a top 10 and a top 5 in that at Daytona. Trying to do the same here, but also needs to make a pit stop in this race still as well. Only 1 car, I think actually a couple cars left that need to make a pit stop. Tyler Murray, the 33, is one of them. Corey Steinhausen, the 34, also need to make a pit stop. As Nick Doucette's gone around Larry Pace, as I expected, could really kind of just chase down that 98 car here. Nick Doucette looking for a race win to really set the ship right. As I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, he really needed a get-right race. This could be if things sit the way he wants them to right now, because behind Larry Pace, you got TJ Crampton, who is in 3rd, Brendan McKee, and right now tentatively in 9th. Christian Budd, a full almost 7 seconds behind Nick Doucette right now. Jose Solis Jr. not even close to Christian Budd either. So it's a very interesting sort of turn of events with how this has played out.
Nick Doucette's had a very not a disastrous, but a disappointing start to this season in particular. He's been in the lead. He's challenged for the lead several times, and just something always catches him at the end of the race. Something always pushes him down. He gets involved in an incident. So tonight, this could be his coming out party. This could be the big race he has been waiting for all season long. As we follow along with ABN's own Christina Ryan, currently sitting in position number 11, looking for her first top 10 of the 2024 season, the 2004 Nextel, celebrating the 2004 Nextel Cup season. Currently sitting 13th in points. If she gets a top 10 tonight, that could change the complexion for her when it comes to the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. Big time for Christina Ryan. I now see some more cars coming down pit lane. Ken Huff and Tyler Murray coming down pit lane puts her right back in the top 10 there. Jose Solis Jr. coming around her here. Just has more pace in those tires. Christina Ryan, another early stopper, trying to get the undercut there just to get some position. She was mired in that 15th, 16th position, so she's definitely gained in that strategy. Still needing 2 cars to make a pit stop. Corey Steinhauser and Hayden Repas, the 34 and the 89 at the top of the field at the moment. Steinhauser in now. But Christina Ryan obviously in a really good spot right now. Just has to hold on for the next coming to 9 laps to go.
So now Nick Doucette has to hold on for 9 laps, number 1. And number 2, Jose Solis, who's now sitting in position number 9. He's got to make up effectively a position each lap if he wants to try to challenge and win this race. Nick Doucette has done a great job of running this race in reverse, and that's why we call NASCAR a non-linear sport. You have to go and do the math and make it work for you if you want to be in first at the end of the race. Christian Budd now in second, but look at that, a football field at least between those 2 drivers. You could probably park a semi between them, which is great news for Doucette, but not so good for Budd. He's got to find everything again on that 17 to Walt Ford in order to make the pass and get around him with 8 to go.
He's in drafting range. This is the most important thing. He's got fresher tires too, so he's looking for a second win here. Absolutely. Doucette's going to make that car as wide as possible, but Christian Budd, those fresher tires, they mean so much when you're so tuned in and on the low downforce setups. We mentioned this last week. Low downforce, it takes a lot of the tires. It takes a lot more out of the tires. Higher downforce preserves the tires a little bit more. Lower downforce puts more weight on the tires to really sort of just perform at the grip that you're wanting them to do. As you see Christian Budd, the inside lane, just drives under Nick Doucette and just gets right through him. Doucette's not going to be able to effectively respond either because he can't do the same thing that Christian Budd just did. The low downforce package takes a lot out of the tires. Nick Doucette had to take a call to try to really go after the position game, which he got. Obviously, he was in 9th at the time. Now he's in 2nd. But you see Jose Solis Jr., just the amount of time that Jose Solis Jr. has had on track, already a top 3. He is blown by most of the field here. The issue is that he's not close enough to Christian Budd yet to really be a factor, but he is on it right now. what's coming to 6 laps to go, you always saw that little flash out of turn 4 where he started the counter steer. The harder you push, the harder you overstep those boundaries. And for Jose Solis Jr., that's been what's made him so hard this season, is he's overstepped it and he's lost it. In this track, as punishing as some tracks like Texas are, as punishing as some tracks like Las Vegas can be, this track is one of the ultimate punishing tracks if you over push it, because there's so much that can catch you out here. The bumps, the rubber seams that you see on the track that really separate the lanes, you hit those too hard. The grip difference that they have, it's a hot racetrack. Those can be slick, those can spin you around. He got around descent pretty easily, but he's having to navigate more than just descent here, and it's slowing him down here with 5 to go. He's within a second of Christian Budd, but now this is where the struggle really begins for Solis, because he's got to somehow manage that while also seeing his tires, as we mentioned, that cliff. It's a very sharp cliff for Solis. He's just got to manage those 5 laps and try to avoid hitting that cliff before the checkered flag.
He has got to do everything. Well, he's got 2 jobs right now. Number 1, stay right on the brink of the cliff. Sit on the edge of the cliff, but don't actually go over it. Number 2, burn that car down as hard as you can, trying to catch up to Christian Budd. He has got a huge lead right now with time running out. 4 to go at this juncture, and Budd is looking to be the second 2-time winner on this season and shake up the perspective and the whole look right now of the chase for the Winstel Cup. We'll see if Jose Solis can make a big run right now. I don't know that he can do it. He may be on that precipice we talked about. In drafting position, yes, but does he have enough tires underneath him to make the pass?
We're going to find out here, coming at 3 laps to go. Christian Budd leads by 0.8 of a second, almost 0.9 over Jose Solis Jr. The time that he was gaining has really plateaued here over the last couple laps. He's got to really, again, push. You got whatever Christian Budd's doing, you got to draft off of him. You got to do the exact same thing. And Christian Budd knows that, so he's dragging him across the racetrack. Can you do that for another 3 laps, though? And Solis is so close to the wall here. So close to the wall here. And you see him stepping out like that. The more you fight the car like that, the slower and slower the car gets. He had a chance to really gain some inroads there. Ended up having to lose a little bit of it because he had to check out of it. Now he's going to try to do it again in 3 and 4 and be more successful at it. And again, up into the wall, you see that. If he gets to him, it's going to be a photo finish. But with 2 to go, I think Christian Budd, might have his pulse on it.
Christian Budd it's his lead to lose at this point, and I know Solis is doing everything he can in his rearview mirror to try to make that 17 machine make an unforced error, trying to do everything he can to make the 17 flinch, to make him have a bad run, something to get him off the pace. Meanwhile, nearly 4 wide back there, 2 by 2. Lewandowski in the mix, trying to get into the top 10. He's got some company around him, the 9, the 18, the 30, all trying to hold him off from getting in the top 10. Back up front with 1 to go, this time by Christian Budd. Has got to do everything he can to hold off Jose Solis to become our second 2-time winner this season. White flag out. Or I'm sorry, 2 laps to go. No white flag out.
Nope, you're at 1 lap to go here for Christian Budd. Jose Solis Jr., again, within half a second now, but he lost a lot of time there a couple laps ago, and it really stalled him out in this run. And he hit the wall there.
Oh.
Huge hit of the wall for Jose Solis Jr. That was his last gasp.
Last gasp for Jose Solis Jr. as they go down to turns 3 and 4. All Christian Budd has to do is hold on to the car for 2 more turns. Coming out of turn number 4, Jose Solis nowhere to be found. It will be Christian Budd, your 2-time winner now, with picking up a checkered flag at Auto Club Speedway.
Solis gave him a good run for his money, but it was not enough. It was a really good effort, a really strong effort.
An incredible effort from both of those drivers. Both of them really showing why they are the cream of the crop this year, and neither one of those drivers have anything to be ashamed about. They both brought everything they had to this track, and they definitely earned their finishes tonight. Jose Solis has got to be a little disappointing because he started on the pole. He had an excellent race and ran as hard as he could, trying to catch up in the end, but sometimes math just has a way. Dylan Roberts will finish in third tonight. Great run by all three of those drivers. Every one of them having some success here tonight. And again, nothing to be ashamed of. They've definitely earned their place, their place tonight, their podium finishes, and they should be thrilled with how they finished them out.
Yeah, again, that's your top 5. We'll talk to the podium finishers here in just a little bit as everyone comes down to pit lane. Good old Park Ferme. You saw there was a crash on the last couple laps, but it did not draw caution between Hayden Repas and Philip Snipes. Again, that was on the back straightaway. But there again, there's your top 5. A good look there. Emily Howe at top 5 here in Fontana. Had to charge forward to make it happen. We'll talk about the full running order here in this race because it was a wild race start to finish. Christian Budd, Jose Solis Jr., Dylan Roberts, your top 3 there. Parker Alexander, 4th. A good run of form from him. He needed it. He was 21st entering tonight. He'll definitely be a lot closer to the cut line for the top 10 after tonight's race. Emily Howe already in the top 10, helping her case out significantly at top 5. Here ahead of Nick Doucette, who once again, a phenomenal run. Just didn't have the strategy call right where you wanted it to be. All tires there. He had to slip all the way back from the race lead. Those bonus points for leading a lap, though, will help out significantly. TJ Crampton, first top 10 of the season for the 50 car here tonight. Out of nowhere for that Dodge. The only Dodge in the top 10 in this race. Out of Chris Champeau, Sean Peleg, and Thomas Lewandowski from the back of the field to top 10. Lewandowski top 10 here tonight. Again, an outstanding result for them in this race. And we'll browse and peruse through the rest of the field as well. Again, you're looking a little bit further down, Gabriel Mauricio, Aaron Smith, Christina Ryan, who was in the top 10 and in that phrase, ended up dropping out. One of the early pit stop goers there on that last stop. Just lost the grip there and couldn't hold on to that top 10, but still a top 13. Not a bad result. First driver already 13th in points, gaining on Brendan McGee, finishing right behind her there in 14th. Larry Pace led some laps once again. The strategy call, he had to take that gamble. The gamble, for the most part, worked. 15th place for Larry Pace here ahead of Anthony Krobach, Jared Bales. Then you have Alex Kolonix in 18th, Kyle Benson, and Timothy Latham in the top 20. Looking a little bit further down the order here, Davin Cornelius, another pretty standard, a solid result here, a very clean result, I guess is the more important thing you want to talk about here with Davin Cornelius. Cornelius ahead of Ali Osman, Brandon Cruz there in the 23rd position, Matt Taylor, 24th, Alex Bates, James Bowles, Evan Mellinson in 27th, Matt Sisler in 28th, Jonathan Hernandez, and Tyler Murray, your top 30. We had 40 cars, though, a very even 40 cars in this race. Andrew Griesbaum, Corey Steinhauser, Rory Collins, Ken Huff, top 34 there. Michael O'Brien, Kenneth Askew, Justin Howell, not where he wanted to be, caught up in an accident late in the race as well. Philip Snipes, Hayden Repas, and Drew White last. The first fragment in this race, only 3 failed to take the checkered flag here tonight. Again, a really good running for this race. 1 caution in this event early on, and it set the stage for what was going to be an interesting drag race between Christian Budd and Jose Solis Jr. Christian Budd surviving the 29's onslaught there. We'll talk to all 3 of our podium finishers in this race. Let's see if we start with Dylan Roberts here in the podium.
Dylan Roberts finishing third tonight. And Dylan, I know it's not first, but it's got to feel good to be able to work your way through the field, not once, but twice, in order to come home with a podium finish tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Really happy with that. Frustrated at myself. I threw it away on pit road. I slid through my pit box. I think I lost like 3 or 4 seconds. I think I chose the right lap, but that's racing. You got to execute, and I just didn't tonight. Those guys did. Jose, Bud, they're just fast. I mean, the 3 of us were just under a blanket there that first run, and I don't think there was anything I could have done to get up there and pass them. They were just so fast, and they executed. You had Nick in the mix there at the end. His strategy almost worked. I mean, Parker breathing down my neck. It felt like a hard-earned podium. That was a really good race.
We talked a lot about doing math and running this race in reverse, and then you mentioned it there, how it was lost on pit road. What was after the first caution flag? How much did that change your strategy, and how much were you thinking about when to come down in order to maximize your position and ultimately fight for the lead?
Well, in my head, it didn't change a whole lot. It just kind of moved the goalposts. My whole plan was pit about the halfway mark, just split it right down the middle. Having the caution, it was all right. So our halfway mark moves. We're going halfway from this caution to the end instead. And I don't actually know which lap I pit on. I ended up just kind of calling a bit of an audible and going off of those two because we had so much of a gap that I felt like we could risk those guys behind us gaining a little bit of time on the tires, and we could bring it back just because we had that gap preemptively built. And then, just hope to undercut them by a lap, get ahead of them, hold them off, and then threw it away, and they just out executed.
You came into this race in six in points, tied with Emily Howe. You will pick up some points in tonight's race. Looking forward, looking towards the chase now, how comfortable do you feel about your chance at running for a championship?
Well, it's been a bit of an up and down season. I think a lot of people have had that experience, though, so that's kept us in the mix. I mean, it's nice to see Emily there in the 15, a teammate. She's doing good. She's, you always want to beat your teammates, but you always want them to succeed as well. Just, hopefully one position behind you. I think we got a good shot. We can string together some runs like this, cut down on the bad luck. I mean, it's been one of those seasons where it's for every good race there's a bad one. Just need to have some luck turn our way.
Speaking of luck, next week, as you look at next week's race, what are you thinking luck-wise? How do you turn this into, to take momentum of this race and plug it in for next week?
Well, hopefully we don't need to rely on luck next week. Coming off, I think I won Richmond last year, so to maybe be able to defend that win, that'd be nice. Hopefully we'll have some pace. Hopefully roll that into some momentum for, I believe, Charlotte after that. And if, just go it and execute, really, not beat myself like I did tonight.
Dylan Roberts finishing third tonight. Who makes it work for you, buddy?
Oh, just a huge shout out to everybody here at Winstel, you guys for the broadcast, and just, shout out to everybody on track tonight. That was such a fun race. I mean, we had, one caution. Everybody drove within their means. We had some great battling throughout the field, and I hope we put on a good show.
And a good show was had by all. Dylan Roberts in the 8 machine finishing third tonight.
See who we have here. See if Jose Solis Jr. is available for an interview.
I believe Christian Budd, our winner, is standing by.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, let's go ahead and interview Christian Budd here. We'll talk to him. First place race winner here.
Christian Budd, your second win of the season, and it might have come from running the race in reverse. Tell us about how your pit strategy ultimately ended you moving up to position number 1 tonight.
It was a really fun race, really hard race. I was driving the wheels off that thing. As far as pitting, when you're up front, you have a little more options. So I started kind of waiting to see when everybody was going. Jose's usually really aggressive on pit road and goes first, and he was kind of waiting. Dylan went, and I didn't want to let Dylan get out too far ahead. So after he went, I decided I'm going to go ahead and come down. Really didn't, get a great entry on my pit road. Felt like I left a little bit on the table there, and I was really worried about that. But when I came out, Dylan was behind me, and I knew he must have made a mistake or something because he's usually really, really fast in getting in and off pit road. It was really fun. Once I got up front, I just had to track down those 2-tire cars and older tire cars and get by them, and then hold off Jose, which is not an easy thing to do. It's definitely, one of the last people I want to see in the mirror is Jose coming to catch you as you're trying to take the checker.
Definitely. It's got to be a good feeling, though, knowing that you guys have the strategy, you have the equipment, and most importantly, you have the tires underneath you to hold off the pace setter tonight and pick up your second win on the season. You're now exactly one of two people who have won 2 races in this 2024 campaign.
Yeah, and that feels really good. Last year we managed to win 1 and no others, and the year before that we didn't win any. So to win 2 early on like this is awesome. I've let a lot slip through my fingers over the years, so it's nice to capitalize on one of these. And just can't say enough. These guys, Dylan and Jose. I mean, they're race winners in this league. They're championship contenders. They're going to win races this series. So to be able to come out on top is really, really great.
Well, you talked really quickly about how that pit stop, the first caution seemed to mess up a lot of people when it came to pit strategy and how it came to deciding when to come down. How did it affect you? Were you nervous at all? Did you have to redo your math? How did it affect your strategy coming after that caution flag that ultimately led to your win?
Well, I was really surprised to see people take two. It's just tires are so important here, and you can see that as much as we were sliding around and everything. You just, you need that extra grip, and even though we only went, 8 laps or whatever, it's enough to hurt your left sides. But track position's also huge, and so I saw Larry stay out. I think he probably regrets that, but I almost followed him out. You don't really know the right call when you're making it. You just kind of go with what your instinct is. But obviously 4 tires was the right call there because we didn't have a bunch of cautions. We got green flag all the way to the end, so that's really what made the difference.
So this week you ran at a 2-mile D oval. Next week you run at a 3/4 mile D oval with this big win. Now you're second of the campaign. What's your thoughts going into Richmond? Are we going to see our first 3-time winner this season?
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. I've run pretty well there over the years, but haven't had a ton of luck there. Usually seem to do something to mess up the strategy or throw that one away. But last year, really the 2 guys who were racing for the win were Dylan and Jose, and I was running, 7th or 8th all night. So need to find a little bit there so I can compete with those guys. But it should be a really fun race. I mean, all the races this year have been, meeting or beating my expectations. They've been fun, and these cars they're hard to drive. I wanted to take a quick second to thank Emily Howe for this setup. This setup was fun to drive. Everybody was really challenged by it. So, you'll see that again at Richmond too.
Christian Budd, your winner here at California Speedway, Auto Club Speedway, as it was called before the end. Who makes it work for you, buddy?
Everybody here at Winstel, the whole admin team, just tons of hours behind the scenes trying to make everything come together. All these awesome paint jobs, and everybody is real good about running them and putting them on, and they look awesome. Team Watson Racing for our Road to Pro effort over there. Got 3 cars in that top 70 right now, so hopefully we can keep them there. And you guys for doing these broadcasts. It's a ton of fun.
Christian Budd in the number 17 DeWalt Ford picks up his second win of the 2024 Winstel campaign.
I believe we got one more person. I believe the other person that is waiting is Jose Solis Jr. We'll double check here and see if it indeed is Jose. I think that's the last person we have to talk to in the interview queue.
I believe it is Jose Solis finishing second tonight on the field. A little heartbreak, though, I got to imagine. Starting first, running an incredible race, going all the way from the back of the field forward, just to come a little bit short.
Yeah, I felt like I had a pretty good pit stop sequence there. I pitted a lap after Bud, but like early on in that run, I hit the wall. I feel like I had a little bit of that damage I got from the wall. Just it hurt too much to try and catch Bud there the last part of that run.
So we watched you literally burn down the car in incredible fashion. You were working that car as hard as you could. We watched you slide it out of the turns, have incredible control of the car. How difficult was it in those last 5 laps to maintain control of what seemed to be an incredibly fast car for you guys?
Yeah, it was really hard. We had a pretty low downforce setup today, so it was just really loose on exit. So I was trying to find the fastest groove there at the end, and it like every line didn't matter. Like I was just like spinning off exit. It was really hard.
With a early caution, everyone was looking at you for pit strategy. As I've asked everybody else tonight, how much of that caution affect your strategy, and how much did it affect your decision to come down pit road? And do you have any regrets about it? Do you feel like if you came down in a different way or at a different time, you might have been able to win?
Yeah, I wish I came down earlier. My plan was to just pit a lap after Dylan and Bud, but they pit so late that I feel like when I pit the lap after them, like I didn't have enough time to pass them with how little laps there were left.
Next week, you guys go to Richmond, a giant D oval to a tiny D oval. How do you keep the momentum going next week?
I feel like just qualifying well in track position is going to be really important there. It's probably me a lot of cautions and wrecks, so just try and keep the car up front or near the front, and then should finish pretty well there too.
Jose Solis Jr. finishing second tonight. Who makes it work for you and the team?
Definitely Sean Peleg. Definitely he's not a teammate of mine, but he's definitely very close to a teammate. Definitely helps the cars run fast every week.
That's Jose Solis Jr., your pole sitter, finishing it out second tonight here at California. Well, if you're still watching, thank you so much for being a part of our audience tonight. We are actually going to go ahead and send it over to ABN2 for the final part of the ARCS A2 Cup race at Dover. We appreciate all you guys tuning in for race 6 of 24 here in the Winstel Cup racing season. Before we go, Carmen, real quick final thoughts from you.
A really good race here in Fontana. It never disappoints ever. This is the place where ABN saw its closest race finish in the Champ Car World Series. We almost had one set up here with how the strategy played out here tonight. Again, it's always fun seeing this track. It's a shame that it's not going to be here in its current in the way we remember it being anymore. But we still have this archive because we can go back and keep putting on classic races like this. This overall fantastic, and a lot of racing coming up here. Daytona, Richmond. I think we're going to be at Kansas on Wednesday. There's so much going on here. Again, we'll be back here at Daytona on Tuesday. But what a way to kick off the week. Another fantastic week of racing beginning. Congrats to Christian Budd. A phenomenal effort all the way through.
And of course, to catch all of the racing action, be sure to follow us here on Twitch and on X, ABN Esports, our main channel, ABN Esports 2, for all the action over there. Thank you so much for being a part of the next race. We will send you over now to the finish of the ARCS A2 Cup race at Dover on ABN2. On behalf of my broadcasting partner and the man who makes it all work, Carmen Sienna, my name is Joe Cortez. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time here on ABN. Good night, everybody.